Travels, aviation, tourism, lifestyle, and destinations, while learning the people, culture, and everything in between, one episode at a time. Introducing your host, Tayar Arishadare. Welcome to the Traviator. Learn the world.
This is the Traviator. As always, my name is Tayo Orishadare, and I'm reaching you live from our Lagos studios. Today, we'll be discussing something along the cultural line. As you know, on the Traviator, we are leveraging the platforms of travel, aviation, tourism, culture, destination, and lifestyle to bridging the gap between the world truths and our truths. On today's episode of the Traviator, we'll be flying to the southernmost country in the African continent, that is South Africa. And we will be looking at that part of South Africa, the tribe in South Africa with the highest population. As of the last count, they're standing at about, say, 10 million plus of citizens that belong to that tribe. Today, we'll be talking about the Zulu tribe, and we'll be discussing this along tribe, language, and culture. As a prelude, the Zulu formed around the presence of ancestral spirits known as Amadlosi and Abapansi. They believe so much in the presence of their ancestors, and they have a strong connection between the ancestors and themselves. And it reflects in the forms of dreams and sometimes sickness. And somehow they have that connection to the ancestors, maybe by snakes. And they actually really present these ones, especially when maybe during marriages, death, puberty, and even during birth. And the worthy Zulu daughter to do justice to the topic, Zulu, the tribe, language, and culture. She's a public relations, marketing, communication, brand practitioner, and strategist. She's an online radio host, a blogger, and a YouTuber. You think that is enough? But beyond that, she's a life coach, mentor, a catalyst, and spiritual inner healer for that inner acceptance and inner peace for whether herself or the public at large. Generally, she helps others gain a deeper understanding of self and assist confidence in the abilities of people around her. She really do believe there are endless opportunities in the world, and she's dedicated to everyone's success. She's naturally altruistic. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as a welcome to the studios, my friend of such a very long time, Phumzile Phatedi. Welcome to the studios.
Yes, hey, T.Y., my friend. Thank you so much.
No, you're laughing so hard. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Can't complain. I know the world has seen so much, but hey, we're still here.
Yes. How is the weather in South Africa today?
Today is very hot. It's a beautiful hot summer day. Yeah, the sun is out. The sun is beautifully out today.
Okay, so just looking at the topic we want to talk about today, from the outsiders, we see the Zulu. We actually perceive them more from the beauty of their language, the clicking sound. You also know that whenever I visit South Africa and you're talking, I'm actually waiting for you to just pronounce those clicking things like Ngomboti. So Sawubona today, and I'm sure you'll be doing a lot of that to us. Siyabonga for joining us on this show, and also just to help educate those of us that are from outside. What does Zulu mean to you?
Sure. Yeah, no, let me start by saying I am so proud of you because you still remember all the clicking sound and the Zulu and the greetings. So yes, over 20 years of learning. I'm so proud of you. So Tayo, being Zulu means so much to me. Just to give a background, I actually originally I am Swati, but I had a privilege. Yes, I had a privilege to study, grow up in KZN, KwaZulu Natal. So generally, I was brought up as Zulu as they come, but biologically, I cannot claim that I'm Zulu. But the culture and everything that I've learned by being Zulu, I am honored to say being Zulu is one of the proudest things that I've experienced. And I carry myself and my kids, everything that we do at home, cultural, within culture, it's more Zulu than any other thing in Africa. So being Zulu, Zulus are known for in South Africa, when they joke about being a Zulu, they will say they are known for taxi driving and all that, and all being.
Okay.
Everybody, when you say a Zulu, they will ask you if are you a taxi driver or an owner. But that's not all that Zulu is all about. Zulu is about a beautiful, with the background that you've shared currently, exactly that the culture, the diversity, it's as strong and the biggest tribe. That's why everybody in South Africa would actually predominantly be Zulu, because they take over all the Xhosas, the Swatis, the Sepedi, but Zulu really is the craft of South Africa. And the Zulu name comes from when they say Zulu. There is Zulu as in the heavens, and the Zulu, the weather. Right. So when you're saying a Zulu person or Zulu, it means we are people of the heavens. We don't control weather, but when a Zulu person or the Zulu tribe is around, the weather, does things. You will see the rain, you would see the wind, you would see everything that says Amazulu, people of the heavens. So it means that so much to me.
Okay. So there's the weather, there's Zulu, the people, there's Zulu, the language. So yes, and there's Zulu, the heavens. So Kwa, Zulu. So the Kwa means the collection or the city or the location. Yeah, the people that have the direct connection to the heavens are actually located. That's interesting. Wow. Zulu. Okay, so beyond the fact that we that look from outside, if anything, one of those things that really excites us about the Zulu is their culture, their ceremonies. But before we get there, from someone who is an integral part of this culture, what are the Zulus particularly known for?
Okay. The Zulus are known for their, song, dance. They are known for their, culture, the strict beliefs in ancestral beliefs, and knowing that if you are from the Zulu land, everything that you do culturally begins from a family, a home. So when a man and a woman marry in Zulu culture, if there's no lobola, dowry happening, then the family does not exist. When a child is born in a Zulu culture, things has to be done. Like you need to make sure that you introduce the child to their ancestor, you plant a tree for a child. So their cultural belief is the strongest. There is nothing as a Zulu nation or a Zulu family home that you cannot do without making sure that culture and traditions are done and are taken care of. Anything else that you can do in the Western thing, then it means nothing in the Zulu nation, And the Zulus are known for their, the riches when it comes to the organic food. You know how the crops, the cows, the monetary value is not important, but a family man, their riches, they will say, indoda iyaziwa ngeenkomo zayo. So when they count your cows, that's when they know that you are a man uyindoda because you have cows. So if you don't have crops, if you don't have that, your being Zulu man is. So they are known for that. They are known for, And, making sure that the family, in the Zulu, when we go rural, everything is about vegetation and the crops, and you can feed the nation. They work together. Nobody will go hungry. That's the type of culture they have, where we are all Zulus, even if you come from different families, but you are one nation, you are one tribe. That's why if you go back in the days, how the kingdom was like risen, it was risen because of one leader, Shaka Zulu, who took the whole tribe of men and fought for, the Zulus. So it was not from this family or that family, but it's for the whole kingdom. So we are known for that oneness, that unity of the Zulu people.
Okay. So at least if it's any consolation, the Zulus are not only known as just warriors, and they're not only known by their beautiful dance steps. I remembered one of those trips to South Africa when you took me to Soweto, somewhere on the hill, not very far from Nelson Mandela, Desmond Tutu's house, where we went, and you actually fed me for the first time with the South African delicacy called mhodo. I'm sure we'll get to that at some point. So but that's an experience I still took with me, and I'm sure there must be very, very direct connection between the Zulu and their food. And also, just like a lot of other African countries and some part of Nigeria inclusive, the man's wealth is measured by his ability to not only cater for his people, but very well too. And some of those, like I interviewed somebody from Tanzania only a few weeks ago. She's married to a Maasai man, and their wealth also is measured from the number of cow, goats, and all those things that they have. So Africa is one big family, if not for the boundaries that are artificially introduced. Having said that, why is Zulu culture and tradition very important?
Sure. I think the importance of any culture or any tribe, Tayo, it's more for life and family structure. For me, personally, I think it begins there. If you don't have tradition and culture, you cannot grow your family and the nation and the community because there are no structures. Right. I spoke earlier about those events, from when a child is born. If you don't follow cultural beliefs on how that child is, like how is welcomed as a family, and the surname, how important the traditional and the surname, what it means to a person to be, like I'm Phumzile Dlamini, for me to be able to use that name and surname, it has to start with that culture, that tradition, that from the father's side, something must happen. So I think the lifestyle and that, you make sure that your lifestyle and the home is carried in a certain way. Right. Each and every event is done in a certain way, which is culture. So if it's not, then it means nothing. Let's go to afterbirth, marriage, burial. Like now we had the king of the Zulu passing on. It was a big issue how he was supposed to be buried or how he was buried based on COVID. That culture and tradition, was affected so much, so much that, the tradition holds the homestead, holds the kingdom, then so that it's important in so many ways, even in beliefs, in so many ways, because you are able to know who you are, where you are born, where you come from, and how you represent yourself everywhere else you go. If you go to America and coming from South Africa, and if over and above coming from South Africa, being Zulu or being proud of your tradition, the clothing, how colorful we can be. So it's important in that factor because it's defining each, like how God is, how big God is. You can see from those things that, culture is important because that's something that you need to carry in your life every day. Because if you lose that, then how, as human race, you can't even differentiate.
Right.
So culture, I won't say Zulu only, but I can say for everybody, if your cultural and traditional beliefs are not carried through, you lose a sense of who you are. So it's very important to know where you come from, where you were born, and what are the beliefs, and make sure that you do them right. We'll talk about, like from your synopsis, when you're talking about amadlozi, the ancestral beliefs. Those are the things that are so important to Zulu people. And if you don't do that, not the snake part, but it feels like your life will not go in a certain way if you don't follow those beliefs, if you don't do those things the way they're supposed to be done, not how we think, the way they're supposed to be done.
Okay, I hope President Ramaphosa is listening to my friend Phumzile Phatedi. I mean, I love the gusto that comes and the kind of pride that comes to you when you actually want to refer to yourself. Phumzile Phatedi. And I see the beauty and that pride that goes with it. And I hope someday when President Ramaphosa is considering having someone as the image maker of the Minister of Tourism in South Africa, they will rightly consider my friend Phumzile Phatedi. Okay, so just going to the next possible question that our listeners might want to know. On my several trips to South Africa, one of those things that people will say, oh, when you go to South Africa, just beware, because they have this set of people called the Sangoma. And
yes.
And I know that some people think that the Sangoma goes in a certain negative way, while some people think that their role in the Zulu culture is very, very important because they actually act as intermediaries between we that are alive and our ancestors. So could you just help me to understand the role of the Sangoma in the Zulu tradition? And also, while you will now help me to tie it, we just want to know what the Zulu rituals, ceremony, and dances are. So, but first, let's talk about the Sangoma as intermediaries between us and our ancestors.
Okay. So, as we started talking about the Zulus, and you also did say when you did your research that they believe in so much. When it comes to ancestral beliefs, that's our core. That's the start. Yeah. So the ancestral belief is, when your great-grandfather or mother passes on,
right? Then
you have people in the nation where they are Isangoma, or Isangoma. Okay, let's start with Sangoma. The word Isangoma, where it comes from. Isangoma.
I love the sound of the Zulu words. Sangoma.
Yes. Isangoma. It comes from the singing and the dancing. Isangoma. Ingoma is music.
Right.
So it began with the healing through music, the healing through using the sound, Then when Sangoma uses the drums, and the singing, and when they sing and dance, then the ancestral part comes in where the rise of the forefathers who have passed on get to wake up or get to come and manifest and come back to life to bring wisdom, to bring any other teaching. So Isangoma will then take a form of somebody. Wisdom comes from our forefathers. So when they've passed on, Isangoma helps to bring that message from the forefathers to the current people. So then the negativity comes that in the power of how does somebody who has passed on is able to come back, is able to send messages, is able to communicate with the living. That's where then the issue where people don't trust, how does that work? But Isangoma helps people to guide, to give the wisdom of the forefather, whatever that they left behind, so that it continues. Let's go back to how a child, when it's born, what you need to do.
Right.
As we grow up, families like young mothers like us, we don't follow the culture the way it's, because we westernized now. Mm-hmm. So when you go to Isangoma, the Sangoma will then help you understand who you are from your surname and tell you this is where you are born. You tell them your surname. Then they will the forefathers will come using their space and their platform to communicate back to you to say, this is what needs to be done. This is where you should be. This is where your family, if there are things that were not done correctly, then the Sangoma will help you and bring your ancestors to tell you what you need to do next. So they are the holders of the truest sense of our cultural stuff and tradition. So they hold it so much more that even if it was not passed on to us, when you go to a Sangoma, you will learn, you will know, because there are no books that they are there, but we don't have so many that will tell you exactly. And then with the Sangoma will also help you strictly from your family, your own family, your own small clan. That's how the Sangoma helps in terms of making sure that we don't lose in like our culture or our beliefs or things that we're supposed to do culturally or traditionally.
Thank you so much, Phumzile, for actually that breath of fresh air into the misconception about Sangoma. And I think also across Africa, we need this level of education just so we can retain the beauty of our culture. And that quick judgment and that quick perception that everything Western is the best for us. Whereas I'm not saying the Western stuff are not good, but it is not to the extent that we discard everything that belongs to us. So, and also, it might actually be not too correct that we did not have some form of organization before the Western colonizers came to Africa. Africa already had some sort of organization around the family, around respect, around culture, around religion, before the advent of colonization. So whereas colonization might have come with its own good, but it is not, it's not enough reason for us to completely jettison that belongs to us. Okay, so Phumzile, from the outside point of view, we know the Zulu for their very beautiful dance steps, especially with ceremonies and a lot of dances. And part of those dance from that we see from the distance is the reed dance. And and if not anything else, we see very beautiful young ladies being in a certain form that are very attractive and often enjoyable. I don't want to go to the details because I may not know enough to provide the details. But coming from a true daughter of the soil, could you just please take us to some certain Zulu rituals, ceremonies, and dances, what they stand for, their connotations, and why they do what they do?
Cool, we'll do that. But before I move there, I just wanted to say, yes, when we became Westernized, when the Western came to teach us few things, why we welcomed it as African people, not only Zulus, as African people, I think because of Ubuntu, because of we are born from that respect, that we are so humble to a point that if anybody comes to us, we receive everybody that way. We are also known for being like accommodative, to say when anybody visit, when they come, an African person will welcome a person and give them food, give them everything that they have, because we are that nation of sharers. Coming to like the redance, coming to those ceremonies, we touched on food. Every ceremony.
Okay, sorry, you were smiling. I'm not only talking about the redance, but redance is just a beautiful spectacle to watch. So amongst all the ceremonies, all the rituals, all the dances, we just want to have insight about these ceremonies and why they do what they do.
True. That's why I was about to say, you spoke about the food. Each and every ceremony that is done, be it a wedding, be it a redance, be it a funeral, you would see that cows will be slaughtered. Or they will slaughtering of animals, of chickens, there will be a feasting. So Zulu culture, they are big on each and every ceremony, you will feast. When you feast, there will be song and dance. There will be that colorfulness where you show the true tribal ways of doing things. So I like the two more, the redance, and I love the weddings. You know, when it comes to the Zulus, I think if you want to see beauty, those are the two. The reed dance, actually, yes, from how you see the young ladies, the beauty, actually, that particular ceremony is or was to promote virginity, was to promote the beginning of, you know, young women who would carry themselves in a way that your true sense of purity, when you are a virgin, this is how you carry yourself. Right. The reed dance also is used to have, you know, now we talk to our kids, counsel them every now and again. The reed dance then was where mothers will have all the young women coming into one space and teach them about carrying themselves, you know, for becoming big, young, beautiful women who would grow up to be parents and mothers and the leaders, because, you know, in the Zulu culture, women are the leaders, you know. So that dance comes with that. And what it will do is to showcase the beauty of young women, showing off who they are in their pure sense, where they will be dressed in a way that you can see the boobies, you would see everything that bumps out, where it says, this is true African beauty as is, not because it's to show off for men's perspective or to see the beauty. So the reed dance mainly was more for that, to promote virginity, to promote men and women to say, this is where you start, this is where you can select your bride in a good way, in a platform that is secured. You would know that men will be told how to carry themselves and how to choose a wife, and the women how, when they're supposed to get together, how it's done. Then, yes, the song and dance and the feasting will be part of that, but initially is that. Then, Tayo, my favorite, the weddings. You know, the weddings.
You know, Nigeria is very big on weddings too, especially the Yoruba tribe.
I know.
Tell us about the weddings.
So with the wedding, yes, it begins with that lobola, when, you know, the two families are joined together. Right. That is the first ceremony. After
so lobola is like the dowry, right?
The dowry is where now the family is saying, we have seen a flower on your side, we want to build relations, we want to build a family. So this is our sign to show that we will feed, we will take care of this person. Hence the lobola, hence the cows, to say, we want to take care of this family from this side.
Right.
After that, the second ceremony, it will be now from the bride side, where they will welcome the groom. You know, the welcoming of the groom is also so significant, because now we are saying your child is becoming part of the bride.
And so that is the part of the family.
Child. Yes, and leaving their own family. The groom is leaving their own family to becoming a son to this family. Hence,
so a new addition to the family. So it's like welcoming him into the family.
Yes.
Got it.
And after that, then there will be an exchange of gifts to show that not the bride price like women are being bought, is to showcase that these are now two families that will be living together. Then you'll have the gifting, where the gifting includes the blankets, you know, amakansi, you know, the mats, you know, the grass mats. Amakansi.
I love the language. I just love how it sounds.
Amakamba would be brought, you know, Amakamba would be brought. So the type of gifts that are given, they all say building and starting the family. Mm-hmm. Because Ikanzi was the bed before. Ikanzi was used to sleep in before.
Right.
Before the beds. And that's where you would see two families coming together and the ceremony. Slaughtering is a big part of it. Mm-hmm. Two, you know, the umkomboti, where now the brewing of umkomboti.
Hey.
And why, you know, and with umkomboti, you know, you know, Tayo, with and wine, you have your own glass and all that. But with umkomboti, you are given umkomboti with ikamba. You know, if I have it here, I would show you.
Right.
So, with the kamba, that's when you show that in this, whatever you are drinking in a family together. Everybody will drink using ikamba. That shows the sign of unity, and
so the calabash is what is called. What do you call it again?
Ikamba.
I will try ikamba.
Yeah, ikamba or ukamba. Yeah.
Okay. I will defer. I will just default on the side of ikamba. The other one is like tongue twist. I can see a lot of similarity between your culture and the Igbo tribe in Nigeria, because they have something called Igbanku or something, and I know that as part of it is the bride is supposed to have the local palm wine in the gourd like that, and you just take it around and go in search of his groom, and when he finds it, then he just give it to him. That's similarity. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So all those ceremonies, I think you will never have a celebratory ceremony of a Zulu culture without song and dance, and the pure cultural men and women dancing in one form or in a certain way, that shows being, the Zulu culture, and the food, and the food. So that's who we are.
Beautiful. So the dance, the food, the drink, which was going to take me to the next question, but you've talked about Oswala and Nkomboti. And I remember that even Shaka Shaka really made that drink very popular, and I actually made it a point of duty. There's a place called Busy Corner in Johannesburg, and I made sure I just actually go there to see what Nkomboti looks like. Okay, so like they say, the way to a man's heart is through his mouth. What does the Zulus, what do they eat in terms of food? What is the common food amongst the Zulu tribe?
Yeah. So I think with the food, like you spoke about tribe. So mainly, yes, food is the big part of the man. The home is a home because there is a pot, there is a pot on the stove. So you'd have your dumplings, what do we call it? Dumpling, itombolo on our side. It's a yeast, it's made with yeast, and your spinach, the greens are a big part of, because of, how Amazulu will always, the garden, they will, bachala everything, the greens, everything that is organic, that comes from the garden. Spinach or umroho, it's I don't know if you remember the spinach, green one. Of course,
I remember the spinach that was just put on the side of the yellow, I think pumpkin, and then
the pumpkin.
Yes, the pumpkin. Then what was this? What's this food again? And then I saw the samp, right? Samp.
Yes, istambu.
Yes, and
which is the beans.
Kodu.
Yes, which is the beans.
Yes. So I tasted all of that, and I must say that is my best South African food. I could be a little fussy. I'm not very adventurous with food, but that one I tasted, and every time I've visited South Africa, I've made it a point of duty to always make sure that I have a go at Nkodu. Okay, yes.
Itombolo, pumpkin, spinach, that's the main. And amawudwana, I don't know if you remember, like the chicken feet.
Right. Chicken feet, yeah.
Yes. That as well, and that as well is one of our best when it comes to food.
Okay. Okay, that's beautiful. And I also know that you do a lot of grains.
Yes.
Right. Yes, please.
Yeah. Can you say ama nina?
Ama what?
Ama nina.
Ama nina.
Those are chicken feet. Ama nina.
Okay, so I will try again. Ama nina. Oh, well, I think I gave that the best shot I could give to any, but I know those your tonations and click sound can be really, really challenging. But Those are the beauty of the Zulu language. Okay, so in terms of religion, what is the primary religion of the Zulu tribe? I know Christianity is there now, and there's that hybrid between Christianity and whatever it was that was a traditional religion. What religion are the Zulus known for?
The Zulus are, I also searched that today actually, but yes, Christianity has taken over.
Right.
But what has happened as life went on, there are many other denominations which are coming up to make sure that Christianity and the ancestral belief is now meshed, where you have churches, like there's one big church in KwaZulu-Natal. If you go to tourism, you will always see Bati Kwashembe.
Right.
So it has come out and risen to a point that it made sure that the Zulu culture in religion, they don't lose so much to Christianity and forget to mix together the religion and the tradition. So Ushembe has become a bigger church in KZN. When you go, they are even a tourist destination. Mm-hmm. There's a Ushembe village where you are able to see the religious beliefs, how they mix both.
Right.
But most churches have, so like I belong to Amapostolo. Amapostolo, they are also it's a Christian church, but everything that is done, it's done in a traditional ancestral way, where it mixes Sangoma, it mixes Izinyanga, and speak about how God and us belong, where you find that in the midst of Christianity, in the midst of let me say the Zulu culture, if we believe in Unkulunkulu, we believe in God, we believe in the existence of God. But with that understanding that within the structure religion, God speaks, like you will say guardian angel, or the Western people will say angels. Mm-hmm. On our side, those are our ancestors.
Right.
Because when you pray, when you pray and pasha, when you're gonna speak to God to say, this is my life, this is who I am, and this is what I need, or I need you, guide my family and all that, send your angels. Our churches now, they will tell you, when they say send your angels, it means send the ancestors that know you by name and surname. It means those are your ancestors. Mm-hmm. They've passed on and they are with God on the other side.
Right.
So that's when the religion now, it's mixing the two, Christianity and the cultural or ancestral belief. So, but most Zulu people have moved into Christianity, but as we've seen in South Africa, there's more and more denominations that make sure that we don't lose out on, like in my church, we still do ingoma, isgubu, where we beat the drums. Right. When we're having our praise and worship, there's beating of the drums. That's where the ancestral will come alive. You would see people coming out and prophesy, or are able to come out and tell you to say your family is saying fix this, fix that, or they are happy with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that happens at church. That happens in that space, So there are a lot of denominations that mix the two. But Christianity has taken over a little bit.
I love the fact that the Zulu culture has been able to find a healthy balance between the Western infused Christianity and the Zulu's tradition and beliefs when it comes to religion. And I hope the rest of Africa also has something to learn about this. And because it is really, really becoming very fashionable around Africa, where people are just abandoning their tradition and beliefs in droves, in preference for the more modern, with the right facade and all the pizzazz and razzmatazz that goes with the Western religion, especially Christianity, and how we've just been able to just allude our own tradition only to satanism and black things and evil and all that. So it might not necessarily be so. So I think the rest of Africa will have something to learn from the Zulu culture and how they've been able to create this healthy balance. In taking this home, I just want to ask that I have just one question that has two sides to it. In one very simple sentence, what does it take to win a Zulu man's heart and possibly a Zulu lady's heart? In just one very short sentence.
Sure. I think, other than food, I think respect.
Respect. Oh,
Respect.
Okay, so
Zulu men, all they want is, a woman who would just respect them, who would just, give into, I don't want to say, when they say chauvinist pigs, in a way where...
but I think the Zulu culture is matriarchal in nature. So where's chauvinism coming into this?
So in that, but when you respect so humbly that even looking at you don't even look them in the eye.
Status, yeah.
When you show that you give them their space of being and respect in like 100% in every way, then you would have won that man's heart, then the food, obviously.
Oh, okay. Okay, so just like in everywhere in the world, the way to a Zulu man's heart is still through food and respect, and loads of that too. And will that also amount for the same thing for the ladies too?
I think for the ladies is different. There is, I said it before, there is a saying that said, "Ubuhle bendoda izinkomo zayo." I will translate.
Because in Yoruba language, you say a man that decides to go and speak English in the house of his in-law, we also have the singular honor and responsibility to interpret it. So do us the honors.
Yeah. So they say the beauty of a man,
yes,
it's in his cows, the wealth.
Right.
So for a Zulu woman, you are looking at the men who would immediately show that they will be able to take care of you and your family. The rest is...
Trust me, they're not asking for too much. That will be about the same thing that most fathers, most mothers will be looking out for, including the bride.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to marry out his daughter into slavery.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just taking this home very nicely now. For those people that want to visit South Africa or any of the locations where the Zulu tribe is prevalent, what will be those things they can see that forms a part of the Zulu culture or tradition that can also be a major driver for tourism?
Yeah. So definitely Durban, which is KwaZulu-Natal in Durban. And you have a place that is called Ushaka Marine. So that place in Durban has so much in store for people who are traveling in Durban to see everything that is KwaZulu, And then in there, they have in that destination, what they do, they have days where they will showcase different things. They will showcase the dance. They would showcase the food. There will be an African market. They will showcase the Sangoma, the healers, and all. So Ushaka Marine in Durban, that's where you will be able to see almost everything that is, because KwaZulu-Natal is big, Tayo, but in that city, that's where you will be able to see almost everything that is Zulu, the kingdom of the Zulu. Then the other place is Ulundi. Ulundi is very rich in tradition. That is where Inkatha Freedom Party leader Mangosuthu Buthelezi stays. There, even when you enter Ulundi, from the way you would be received, that is authentically still authentically very Zulu. So Ulundi and Durban would be the place to go.
Okay. So thank you very much for that insight. And I just want to say thank you very much, Phumzile, because you've done more justice than we would ever imagine. And for our listeners at home, I'm sure you've seen Zulu from the eyes of an insider, a public relation expert, a brand strategist, and a blogger, a YouTuber, and who else, like I said, will be able to communicate this better than my dear Phumzile Phatedi. What will be your last words for our listeners and those who wants to visit South Africa for one reason or the other about the Zulu tribe culture, tradition, and language. And as you round up that, you will also leave your final words to us in Zulu language with those clicking and tongue-twisting words.
Thank you so much for having me. As I said, you know what? Yes, I was born Swati, but I had a privilege to grow up as a Zulu girl, and proudly so. My maiden surname is Phumzile Dlamini. You know, when I was named Wagankosi.
I'm not even going to try that.
Is a beautiful country. When you come to KwaZulu-Natal, make sure that you visit the places that I've said, and you would really experience the love. You would really experience Ubuntu at its best. At its best, the people and you know how beautiful they are in KwaZulu-Natal, you will never lose it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You know,
and
yeah.
In Zulu language.
In Zulu language.
And something for the Traviator.
Siyabonga so ukuthi nisamukele eNigeria, eNiger City. Siyanithanda nonke. Ningasabi ukuzivakashela la eMzansi Afrika, nize KwaZulu Natal la nizobona khona ubuhle bethu bendalo njengoba bunjalo.
Njani. Sawubona, siyabonga. Thank you so much. I just wanted to do one liner for us to just tell our Zulu listeners to support Traviator by liking, sharing, subscribing to our numerous social media handles at the Traviator, and also find us on our website www.traviator.com.
Thank you. We'll definitely do that.
Okay. So thank you very much again, Phumzile. And I'm sure we'll be coming back to you again very soon on another episode of the Traviator. I think to our listeners at home, you will agree with me that we now have a more informed insight into the Zulu culture. And just before I go, I just want to, on behalf of the team at the Traviator, extend our sincere condolences to the good people of the Zulu tribe in South Africa on the recent demise of their traditional ruler. Until the next time on this show, my name is Tayo Orishadare, and I want to admonish you to please keep learning the world.
Thanks for joining us on The Traviator. Please stay up to date with us by visiting thetraviator.com. You may also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and all podcast outlets. Until next time, keep learning the world, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Traviator Podcast.